Welcome to my channel, guys. All Things Deep. I'm here to film a quick goddess talk that I really wanted to film like 2-3 weeks ago. And the title of this goddess talk is Love is a Fairy Tale. What inspired this goddess talk is I was listening to a podcast, and I've heard this in 2 different podcasts that, love is not a fairy tale. And that's probably, the problem with people thinking that love is a fairy tale. But I have a very different view. Now, the person who said that love is not a fairy tale, I don't disagree. I think some things in life is not about whether you agree or disagree. It's just your perspective. It's just your opinion. But I just wanted to come on here real quickly. This is for the lovers out there. And this is also for the people who may look at love in a tainted way or look at love. Some people look at love. Everybody look at love differently. I feel like I have a beautiful way of looking at love because I feel like love is one of the most beautiful things that you can experience on earth. So I'm always going to have a positive view on love. And I've been through some traumatic situations and I still have a beautiful view on love. I feel like, some of the first love you experience, of course, is going to be from your mother. Now, listen, my mother, I do a lot of self-healing. I've healed myself from a lot. My mother did not love me properly because she was not raised by her own mother. Her grandmother raised her. So my mom had her own trauma. And I'm pretty sure her grandmama loved her, but it's nothing like a love from a mother. So if they didn't live in the same household, my mama probably didn't experience that love that she wanted to experience. And that's a lot of households because we go through a lot of trauma in life. And sometimes your parents don't even know how to love you the best. So it's up to you to be accountable and responsible for getting your life in order and, healing yourself and reparenting yourself so you can have a healthy view on life. But let me just get to this topic. I just wanted to put that in there because I'm all about the healing and the self-work. But I wrote down what they say fairy tales mean as far as the dictionary is concerned. The first definition is a child's story about magical and imaginary beings and land. The second definition they have is something resembling a fairy tale and being magical, idealized, or extremely happy. And then the last one is the negative view. It says a fabricated story, especially one intended to deceive. Now, I'm a well-rounded person, and I know Disney did a lot of brainwashing to people. But Disney had some beautiful movies with beautiful messages in them as well. Because I choose to look at things more in a positive light. You can choose to dig out the negative in something, or you can choose to focus on the positive. And me, I'm a more optimistic, positive person. So I'm going to put a breakdown at the end of this video. Just one of my favorite fairy tale type movies that was made by Disney is Beauty and the Beast. And I found a beautiful breakdown on what I got from the movie. The man broke it down so beautiful, and that's how I saw the movie. So I'm going to put that at the end of this. So if you watch to the end, just watch those clips so you can see where I'm coming from when I say love is a fairy tale. Now, love is a fairy tale to me because you have so many people on this. You have billions of people. And I do know that people actually find a good mate for them, a perfect match for them. Not perfect people, a perfect match for them. You have couples that just work. They balance each other out. They just work. And I'm not talking about physical work. They just work. Like, I've seen a beautiful relationship that was in harmony. So, on this, it says imaginary. If you believe in manifesting, then you got to understand that when you're manifesting, you do a lot of visualization. You're doing a lot of imagining in your mind. And if you're a good manifester, even if you ain't a good manifester, you manifest what you think for the most part. But people who manifest beautifully, hopefully they're manifesting a beautiful reality. So you're imagining a reality that doesn't resist. Sorry, y'all. You're imagining something that does not exist yet. Sounds like a fairy tale to me. Because you can tell somebody your biggest dream, that's a fucking fairy tale. Until that shit comes to pass, it's a fairy tale. So, to me, I feel like love is a fairy tale because there's so many people in this world that is settling. And they're with the wrong partner. They're together to keep for the children. It's a lot of couples that's together and they're unhappy. And they're together for some some reason that's holding them together and keeping them unhappy. I don't get it. I get it and I don't get it, because I'm just not one of those people that's gonna stay in something that I'm not happy in. I've seen beautiful relationships. I've seen couples. I've been in the presence of beautiful relationships. You can tell by their energy. You can tell by how long they've been together. I used to work at Wendy's, and this older couple used to come in, and they were just like the sweetest little couple. He used to come in. They used to come in together, hand in hand. He used to let her chair out. She sit down. He come up and order their food. They got the same thing every Wednesday. He took it back, and I talked to that man over the time I worked there, and I could tell him and his wife had a beautiful relationship. And I've seen that. And I've actually, my friend, she was telling me a story about her uncle had passed, and then the aunt passed shortly after, and they didn't really know why she passed. They classified it as a heartbreak. And I've heard that story before, but when she told it to me, it kind of hit me because that's somebody close to me. So I'm like, if she's telling me this story, so basically the wife passed shortly after the husband due to heartbreak, because they were probably really soulmates. They were probably life partners. Well, however you want to classify it, I choose to believe that you can find a perfect mate for you. But people put their own boundaries on love. They got their own. They look at love too logically. To me, a fairy tale love is following your heart despite what anybody else thinks. Loving your mate despite what anybody think about your mate. Because there's some people out there, you might be interested in somebody else, have a negative view on the person that you are interested in or the person you love, but you hear negativity from everybody around you. That could deter you to be like, well, not even to mess with that person. And that's the point. A fairy tale type love is you following your heart. It is so many things that people put in between love. Like, I love movies. And a lot of love movies that I look at, they give you that message. Like the last movie I looked at was I just looked this up. I'm gonna be right back. I gotta go look this movie up. I got to. So I'm back. So I had to go look up that movie. So one of the last love movies that I really liked that had a great message in it to me was Nobody's Fool. Because if you ever watch that movie, and for people who don't watch it, for people that got kind of like a negative view on love, go watch you some love movies. Go get some love in your heart, because a lot of love movies, they tell a good message if you're paying attention. So Nobody's Fool. So basically she was talking to this guy that she had a list, and the guy met like everything on her list. She met the guy online. Long story short, she ended up meeting him in person, and he was terrible. Like, they just did not connect well. Meanwhile, this other guy who loved her, showed interest in her, she didn't want him because he was an ex-con. He had been to jail, had like a little rough past, but he was nice to her. He was a gentleman to her, and she ended up going out with him. And long story short, she ended up being with him, the one that did not meet her list. I think people be so hung up on a type, and they type really ain't they type. And they need to step out of the box and maybe try somebody that's not your type, because that's probably going to be the one for you. So I do believe love is a fairy tale, because I do believe it's a lot of beautiful relationships out there. And I do believe it's all about how you choose to look at a thing. On the podcast, he was saying also like how love isn't enough. But I feel like love is enough to a certain extent. I'm not saying you're not supposed to put work in and do your, show your love. Because love is an action word. You have to show your love, show that you care for your love. If you love someone, you ain't got no choice but to show them that you love them. Love is an action, period. But it's a magical thing, because you know what they say, you can't help who you love. Like, sometimes you can't help who you love. I don't know. I just love love. I love movies. I always get a good message out of love movies. So I don't, nobody's perfect. No relationship is going to be perfect, but I do believe you can find relationship that really works like magic. You don't stay mad at each other. It just flows. I know they exist. I know those type of relationships exist. Unfortunately, we go through a lot of trauma in life, and how you choose to process stuff really matters, because you can process things in a way where you can block yourself off from love. And, I just wanted to come on here and give my beautiful point of view that love really is a beautiful thing. And Yeah, go watch you some love movies. Like Poetic Justice with Tupac and Janet, how they was at it, with each other, and then they end up, it's gonna be a little friction in there. There's no relationship that's gonna be, just perfect, because that's not the point of a relationship. I feel like a relationship is for you guys to learn, because it's only certain things you can learn by being in a relationship. Whether it's a negative relationship and it don't end up working, you still learn some valuable lessons in that relationship. And then you got the beautiful relationships that helps you to grow and evolve. So it just all depends on how you look at things. But I'm going to put some clips at the end of this video to show you what I mean by there's beautiful messages in movies. So I do believe in fairy tales in real life, because if you're manifesting, that's basically a damn fairy tale. Because if you don't put the work in to try to help yourself manifest what you want, because even though you imagine things, you still got to take certain steps to make these manifestations come alive. That's the same thing in love. So I feel like whatever you believe, and I'm another person that feels like this, whatever you believe, that's what's going to be true for you. Whatever you believe, that is what is going to be true for you. So if you believe in things in a negative way, that's what you're going to get. If you believe things in a positive way, even if negative things come towards you, you still got to keep the faith. You still got to believe in the good. But I'm going to put these clips at the end. I hope you guys watch it to the end. I hope you feel where I'm coming from. I want people to look at love in a beautiful way, because we need more beautiful relationships, more beautiful examples, more people that's not settling, more people that's not putting all kind of stipulations on love. That's why you can't find your true love, because, I really do want a black man. But let me give you an example. What if my soulmate or perfect partner was a Puerto Rican? Like, I feel like I'm open enough to explore that. But I know what I'm manifesting, and I know that, anyway, we ain't gonna go down that road. But what I'm saying is, people put all kind of blockages in the way of finding true love. You got religion out there. You got, oh, I'm a vegan, you eat meat. It's just so much dumb shit that keeps people apart. So you're not gonna find the perfect mate, because you don't put all these illusionist ass things in between finding a good love or finding a love that works for you. Now, if you can be in a loving relationship and you just make it work, I don't know how that go, because I know what I'm manifesting, I know what I want, and that's what I gotta believe. So thank you for tuning in to this Goddess Talk. Love truly can be a fairy tale. Go watch you some love movies. Watch these clips of Beauty and the Beast at the end. Make sure you like, subscribe. Subscribe. Like and subscribe, guys. I just be coming with these Goddess Talks off the top of my head. Just, passionate about everything that come out of my mouth. So I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. And watch the end to see these Beauty and the Beast clips so you can know where I'm coming from.
Put the protagonist and the antagonist of the story, the Beast and Gaston. The Beast is a monster who is actually a beautiful person that he discovers for himself, whereas Gaston is handsome on the outside but is really a cruel, vicious person deep down. Literally, these two characters mirror each other on a narrative level, with one becoming the true monster he is and the other realizing how good he really is. At the beginning, the villagers always try to make out that just because someone's beautiful that they are a good person.
She's the one. The lucky girl I'm going to marry.
But she's
the most beautiful girl in town.
I know, but
That makes her the best.
This is because the town that Belle lives in represents the superficial world where everyone wears a disguise, as it were. Whereas in the castle, the staff are made out to be something that represents their true form. Lumiere is a candlestick because he's always glowing with love and friendliness. Cogsworth is a clock because he's always so persnickety and about to go off at any moment, etc. Belle is really the best of both worlds. She's beautiful on the outside and inside, and she helps to bring out people's true selves. If she acted as if she were happy with her life, she would probably be better accepted by the townspeople. But instead, she displays her true self by being unsatisfied with it, so she's considered such a funny girl. Because they know she could fit in, and they want her to fit in, but she chooses not to. When she's with the Beast, she teaches him the meaning of being selfless, what type of person you are by doing something for someone else. After saving her life, he becomes enamored by her that he wants to do her another favor, so he gives her the library. Maybe in a way, you could say that Belle and Gaston represent two halves of the Beast. Belle is his heart, and Gaston is his selfishness. By the end, he literally battles his own selfishness and then holds his own heart in his hand. The lesson being that we are all Beauty and the Beast. If we think of ourselves first, then we're probably the Beast. But if we treat others with love and compassion, then we're probably beautiful on the inside. Mirrors play an interesting part in the movie as well. The magic mirror is usually the first thing that people think of because it's the Beast's only window to the outside world. What's interesting about it though is that his mirror shows him views of others, whereas with Gaston, his polar opposite, he looks into a mirror to see himself. But that's not all though. You know that shot of Belle walking by the broken mirror? Well, the meaning behind that is actually more based on superstition. According to Roman myth, whenever someone looks into a mirror who is either hideous or in bad health, then the mirror would break, causing 7 years of bad luck. After those 7 years were up, the face and body would be rejuvenated and the curse of bad luck would end completely. Now, I know that in the film they actually say 10 years and that it would bloom until his 21st year, but I kind of have an inkling that that was actually the intention with showing the cracked mirrors, since we literally see 7 shards of broken glass that reflect Belle. It's kind of clever foreshadowing, since she is essentially his cure for ending his bad luck, as it were. So we all know that the Disney movies of today basically try to subvert typical Disney tropes, particularly with Disney princess stories. But did you know that Beauty and the Beast was actually one of the first ones ever to try to break Disney tropes? At the beginning, Gaston, Beauty and the Beast was actually one of the first ones ever to try to break Disney tropes. At the beginning, Gaston is seen as the hero of the town who is usually expected to get the girl and defeat the evil monster. The Beast is the character who starts out as the bad guy, and the whole thing kind of flips the typical story on its head. Howard Ashman, the lyricist on the movie as well as executive producer for the story, was practically famous for defying, or rather parodying, conventional storytelling tropes with his other works like Little Shop of Horrors, and in some ways, The Little Mermaid. The stories he's involved in usually consist of a very cynical view of humanity, with them easily believing whatever they're told or being influenced by the wrong things. In Little Shop, humanity is seen as predictable, which is why Audrey 2 knew that he would basically become famous overnight, and originally ended with humanity seeing its own end. Little Mermaid was about the idea of humans all being heartless savages, but instead has a more optimistic ending with the revelation that prejudice is unreasonable. With Beauty and the Beast, Ashman conveyed in the story the idea of learning to love someone as opposed to love at first sight, loving the bad guy instead of the obvious hero. And over the years, other films have still tried to replicate that same type of story in their own way. Learning to love someone as opposed to love at first sight, loving the bad guy